Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Akil and welcome to a very special video, guys. Now, surprise because I'm actually doing this 2 days early. Yes, 2 days early. I wanted to do this on Tuesday, but I'm doing it today. It's a Sunday, might as well do it. I have things to do on a Tuesday, so there's that. But, guys, today we'll be going through my top 50 favorite movies of all time, guys. Yes, now 5 years ago in 2018, I put out a video titled my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Some of those movies from that top 10 list are actually still on the top 10 list now, but that list has changed. I've seen way more movies than I probably thought I would. I've not reached 1,000 yet, and I'm saying that because I have a letterbox account. You can follow me there. It's on my YouTube channel. I didn't actually put the actual URL. It's annoying. I don't really know how these things work properly, so there's that. But guys, I've not seen over 1,000 movies, so you probably won't see like every great movie on here. But this list is just my own personal favorite list, not the best movies of all time. All right, I should clarify that. And there'll be some movies people be like, "You like that movie? Like this? Really, really? What's wrong with you?" Bring on all the controversy, bring on all the hate. It doesn't really matter. I want to know what you guys think about this list and what's your list. What are your top 50 favorite movies of all time? Or hell, just make a top 10 or top 20. It's really up to you. But guys, this is going to be rapid fire because there's a lot of movies obviously on here, 50 I should say. So I'm going to try and speed through these very quickly, but hopefully you can keep up with me. But guys, without further ado, here we go. Here's my top 50 favorite movies of all time. So, number 50 is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. This movie has amazing action. You got Rebecca Ferguson joining the cast, Sean Harris, Alec Baldwin. This film is just great. There's great action, great characters. It's overall a fantastic film, and it was also the first time Christopher McQuarrie directed a Mission Impossible film, and you can probably see as to why he's probably the best director in the franchise and why he decided to stay on. So there's that. Now, 49 is Mission Impossible Fallout. Henry Cavill's in it. Andrew Bassett's in it. And this film is my favorite up until this point in the franchise. Now, I'm so excited for Dead Reckoning Part 1 and Part 2, but as of right now, these two movies are my favorites, some of my favorite action movies of all time, and I just love Tom Cruise in these movies. He's awesome, and the final battle, the final showdown in Mission Impossible Fallout is amazing. I love it. Now, 48 is The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is my favorite stop-motion animated movie of all time. You got Jack Skellington, who's my favorite one of my favorite Disney characters of all time. I even own a T-shirt of the guy, believe it or not. And I just love the look of this movie. This one of those movies where I like the songs. I'm not really a musical guy, but the songs in this movie work. And I need to rewatch this movie. It's been such a long time since I've seen it. Also, it's the 30th anniversary of the movie this year. That's crazy. I need to rewatch this movie at some point. So there's that. Now, 47 is Back to the Future Part 2, one of the most underrated sequels, I would say, of all time. And I just love how fast paced it is. Rob Zemeckis did such a great job with the first movie that maybe he was like, you know what, let's make this 10 minutes shorter. And because that, it's more like intact, it's more like clear and precise, and it's like all in your face, if that kind of makes sense. And I just love movies that are very fast paced. It gets your adrenaline going and your blood pumping and racing. And this movie is just better because of the pacing. I thought the 10 minutes being cut out from the first movie, or this movie being 10 minutes shorter than the first movie, works. It really, really works. So there's that. Now, 46 is Spiderman No Way Home. This movie was amazing to watch in theaters. I've actually seen this movie 3 times. And I think there's only one other movie that I've seen this decade that I've only seen like more than once, and it's the next movie I'll talk about. I believe so. That's the case. But anyway, No Way Home's awesome. Obviously, people say it's nostalgia bait, but for me, I just love how they tied it all in together, the past, present, and setting up the future as well. This is a phenomenal movie, a phenomenal Spider-Man movie. There's nothing really more I can say about it. It's Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, 45 is Dune, or should I say Dune Part 1. This was actually my favorite movie of 2021, and I just love grand epic stories, and this is grand epic sci-fi, great ensemble cast, one of my favorite ensemble casts of all time, I would say. Great direction from Denis Villeneuve, great cinematography, great music from my favorite movie composer of all time, Hans Zimmer, and I'm just so excited for Dune Part 2 this year. And yeah, I just can't wait to see what they do with that. Dune was just amazing, epic sci-fi storytelling at its best. It's not perfect, but it's still really good. 44 is Seven Samurai. This movie has just an epic feel to it. The acting is amazing, the writing is amazing, the directing is amazing. While it is a tad bit long, that's the only thing that holds it back from being so high on the list. It's just very long. But apart from that, I love it. Is this a technical masterpiece? Probably, yeah, but the length does affect it in my opinion. But still, overall, I love Seven Samurai. It's such a great movie. Check it out once in a life. Thank me later. Now, 43 is Rear Window. This movie is subtlety at its best, where if you watch a movie, not a lot happens, but at the same time, a lot happens. You got Grace Kelly, James Stewart, and of course, one of my favorite directors currently of all time, Alfred Hitchcock. And I'm saying currently because that list of top 10 directors, that could also change. And yes, Hitchcock is on that list. I believe I made my list about the directors 2 years, 3 years ago. But anyway, I'm sidetracking. But point is that he's a great director. This movie is great. Go check out Rear Window. It is subtlety at its best. Now, 42 is North by Northwest, yet another Alfred Hitchcock film. This is kind of like Hitchcock making a James Bond film. Everyone likes to make fun of that, joke about that when it comes to this movie. You got Cary Grant in this movie instead, James Stewart. Two iconic sequences in this movie, and just feels like a James Bond-esque movie. Also, out of all the Hitchcock films I've seen up until this point, this is the best written Hitchcock film, I would say. The dialogue is super sharp in this movie. I don't know why, I just love the dialogue in this movie. Now, 41 is A Few Good Men, and speak of dialogue, some of the best dialogue probably ever put on film is in this movie, thanks to Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin knows how to write a film. He does great job writing his films, and this movie shows that. You got Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, some other familiar faces that I won't spoil, but Tom Cruise, in my opinion, is the best part of this movie. I love Jack Nicholson. Demi Moore is also good, but Tom Cruise stole the show. He is a really good actor. And you watch a movie like, wow, Tom Cruise really can act. He really is that good. People who say Tom Cruise can't act, watch this movie. Now, 40 is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And this is by far one of the greatest sci-fi movies, one of the greatest sci-fi action movies of all time. Robert Patrick killed it as the villain. Arnold Schwarzenegger's great. Edward Furlong's great. Linda Hamilton's great. Just as a great sci-fi action movie. We all know how good it is. A lot of people love this movie, so there's nothing really much else I can say about it. And James Cameron is just so good at making sequels. And I'm saying sequels as well because I loved Way of Water. So there's that. Now, 39 is Alien. Alien is another film where I like to say like Rear Window is subtlety at its best. You got great direction, great suspense and tension building from Ridley Scott, who's just another great sci-fi filmmaker as well, like James Cameron. And this guy just knows how to just craft tension and suspense. And you wouldn't think Ridley Scott would be that guy to do something like that, but no, he did such a good job with it. And this is still one of the most iconic sci-fi movies of all time. And the Xenomorph still looks absolutely amazing and still terrifying, I would say. Now, 38 is Aliens. You got just a great child performance in this movie. The character Newt is probably one of my favorite child characters of all time, and she doesn't really speak or do much in this movie, but she is very useful. And if you watch this movie, you know what I'm talking about. And it's one of those child characters where they could have easily made her be annoying, but they didn't. Sigourney Weaver actually got an Oscar nomination for this movie, which is crazy. There's just some iconic moments in this movie. Obviously, the line "Game over, man, game over" is probably the most iconic line in my opinion. And I just love what James Cameron did with this movie, taking it up a notch, making it an action film, not just a sci-fi film. It's amazing. You still got the tension there, but overall, Aliens is a great ride. 37, Road to Perdition. And this movie completely surprised me. I thought this would be a gangster movie. As it turns out, it's more than that. And I won't spoil what I mean by more than that. Go watch it and thank me later because this movie really surprised me. It's got probably one of my favorite cast of all time. Even though it's not that big, I just love who is in this movie. Like, I know the names, I know the faces. That's why I thought it was pretty cool. Tom Hanks, I would say, in this movie is really good. And this is my favorite Tom Hanks film. Which, fun fact, I believe Tom Hanks even said this is his favorite film from his entire filmography. So, there you go. It's also my favorite Sam Mendes film. So, Sam Mendes, well done. You killed it with this movie, man. Now, 36 is Ex Machina. And this is yet another surprising film. I was so blown away by it. And dare I say it, Alicia Vikander gave me probably my favorite female performance of all time. It is so hard to act as a robot in this movie, and she killed it. She absolutely killed it. You got Oscar Isaac, you got Donald Gleason. This movie just exposed what it's like to be robot, to be a robot, to be AI, and it's just crazy and realistic and intense, and I absolutely love it. Go watch it. Ex Machina is awesome. Now, 35 is Woopa, another modern day sci-fi classic in my opinion, Ryan Johnson did such a good job directing this movie. It's a very unique time travel film, and this movie just has a very different feel to other time travel movies. Now, you may have seen time travel movies like this before, especially movies like Predestination, stuff like that, but the way they did it here is so good. It's so much fun. I love it. Woopa is a blast. It's my favorite straight up time travel film that doesn't fall into any subgenre. Alright, 34, Avengers Infinity War. This movie, obviously, everyone knows how good it is. And Josh Boyd killed it as Thanos. He's the best part of this movie, and he's so good in the as a villain. He's still the best villain in the MCU. I would say, no offense to Jonathan Majors, can't do Quantumania. He was good, but he was kind of wasted. If you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. But here, he killed it. All the Avengers are great, and my God, that ending is still one of the most shocking endings I've seen in my entire life. Alright, 33 is No Country for Old Men. Here, Josh Boyd does not play a villain, he plays a good guy. The villain, just like, however, in Infinity War, is the best part of this movie. Javier Bardem gives probably one of my favorite performances of all time as Anton. So terrifying, so menacing. Some people may find this movie boring, slow, overrated. I could see why, but for me, this movie is so damn good. I love it. It's not quite perfect because I don't know why. Whenever I hear Tommy Lee Jones say some lines in the movie, I can't fully quite understand what he's saying. It might just be me. I'm not too sure, but still, overall, though, I love No Country for Old Men. He's really Javier Bardem stole the show in this movie, and Anton's one of the greatest villains of all time. All right, 32. Yeah, another Josh Brolin movie, Avengers Endgame. The third act in this movie is hands down my favorite third act I've seen in my entire life. I love it. I absolutely love it. But the rest of the movie is also really good too. Yes, it's a bit slow and a tad bit long, but overall, I love it. Avengers Endgame is the ultimate MCU movie experience. But there are a couple more MCU movies and superhero movies on this list. So there's that. Alright, now 31 is X-Men Days of Future Past. And this movie is just a great superhero time travel movie. It's a better looking movie than Infinity War Endgame, and it's also a better paced movie than Infinity War Endgame too. That's why I'm putting this above those two movies. I just love, again, movies that are paced quite well, quite fast, and this movie knows what it is and goes for it, and it's just a great looking super movie. No one talks about how good looking this movie is. Go watch Days of Future Past and you'll be like, wow, this movie actually looks really good and nice and crisp and clean. Yeah, I don't know where Bryan Singer finds these cinematographers or where they find these cinematographers, but they're awesome. So there's that. Now, number 30 is The Prince of Egypt. By far, my favorite DreamWorks movie of all time. No one really talks about this movie at all nowadays. No one. It is so good. The animation is amazing. The voice cast, dare say, might be the greatest voice cast in animation movie history. It's just so good. So many big name actors are in this movie. And they're still, but almost all of them, hell, I think all of them are still working today as actors. So there you go. And I just love it. The Prince of Egypt rules. The animation's great. The visuals are great. The music is great. The story is great. I'm not Christian and I love this movie. Yeah, I'm surprised to say that. Yeah. Go watch Prince of Egypt. It's by far one of the greatest animated movies I've ever seen. Not just from a favorite point of view, but from a technical point of view as well. Alright, now 29 is Star Wars The Force Awakens, and I know everyone hates the sequels. Everyone hates what they did to all the characters. But for me, I enjoyed the sequels. I did. And Force Awakens was a blast. This is by far one of the most entertaining movies I've ever seen in my entire life. It never gets old. I love Rey. I love Kylo Ren. I love Finn. Poe, I'm kind of iffy on at times, I'm not gonna lie. BB-8's awesome. And just, it's a great ride. J.J. Abrams knows how to make really thrilling movies, in my opinion. And that's why he's also one of my favorite directors. Again, it goes back to the thing I said about movies being fast-paced. This movie excels at that. It is non-stop, it is awesome, and I love it. Force Awakens is such a blast, in my opinion. Alright, 28 is Joker. And we're going from a total 180 here, guys, because Joker is not a blast. This is a very serious movie. And dare I say, probably my favorite character study film of all time. Joker rules. It is amazing. Joaquin Phoenix killed it. Again, one of my favorite performances of all time. You, sir, you deserve the Oscar, even though I probably haven't really seen much of the others that year. But anyway, Joker is really good. And Todd Phillips, I don't know why you're making the sequel a musical, but hey, it's up to you, man. It's up to you, because I could see why you want to do something different. But anyway, this movie killed at the box office. It made $1 billion, which is surprising for a movie like this. But anyway, Joker, so good, amazing character study movie. All right, 27, Collateral. This movie is my favorite Tom Cruise film, and I mean, you got a great cast. Michael Mann, this is my favorite film from him so far. I liked Heat, but I didn't love it. And Black Cat was kind of bad, kind of big, kind of boring. But Collateral, this is such a great film. Great tension building, great dialogue, phenomenal acting, and is by far my second favorite action movie of all time. And what is my favorite action movie of all time is number 26, which is Drive. Drive is so damn good. I love the look of this movie. I love the acting. Ryan Gosling, man. Every time I watch Ryan Gosling in a movie, he's just so good. He's so, so good. I recently saw him in The Nice Guys and not watched that. He was hilarious in that movie. I'm not even joking. He was so funny. But anyway, Drive is awesome. I love this movie. And it's just a great looking action movie. And the fact that they managed to make this movie look as good as it was is great. All right, 25 is The Shining, and this is my favorite Kubrick film out of the five I've seen so far. And this is the only Kubrick film on this list. Yes, I feel like Kubrick at times, I don't know, like I'm still waiting for that truly perfect 10 out of 10 movie. But I don't know if it's going to happen because I've already seen Clockwork Orange. I've already seen 2001, and I've already seen The Shining as well. But anyway, this movie is so good. Jack Nicholson, again, one of my favorite performances of all time. And again, slow descent to madness, subtlety at its best. And it may not be that scary, but just the way Kubrick crafted the tension and suspense is so good. And this is one of those movies where the location really helps building the tension in this movie. It really, really helps how they filmed in that Overlook Hotel. It really shows that no matter where you are, you can still you feel afraid. And that's what I love about this movie. Alright, 24 is The Lion King. This is my favorite Disney movie of all time in terms of animation, I would say. But still, it's so good. The characters are iconic. The music is iconic. This movie is just so damn iconic now. I mean, if you didn't grow up watching The Lion King, I don't know what to say to you because this movie is just, it's been around for like over 30 years, I believe, right? Yeah. And it would never get old. I love this movie. And, unpopular opinion, the remake is my favorite one from Disney so far. So, there you go. Alright, 23 is War for the Planet of the Apes. And another great child performance from Amaya Miller. And Caesar, man, this is one of my favorite movie characters of all time. Woody Harrelson killed it as the villain. And just a phenomenal ending. I love endings to things. I think you guys can pick up that already. You can notice a trend and theme here with some movies being, endings to big franchises and stuff like that. But I can't help it. I just love endings to things. And this movie just did such a great job making it more emotional than it probably turned out, that people probably thought it was going to be. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that this movie had way more emotion than people never thought it would have. So there's that. Alright, now number 22 is The Godfather. And what can I say that hasn't already been said? It's The Godfather. I mean, in terms of technical aspect, it would probably be a top 10 best movie of all time. But this is a favorites list. And in my opinion, that wedding scene drags. I'm sorry. Take away that wedding scene though, this is a perfect movie. I'm serious. That's why it's so damn high. Obviously, it could be knocked down if I see movies that personally I enjoy more, or I love more, or I feel are better made, or whatever. But anyway, The Godfather is so good, apart from that wedding scene though. Alright, now, number 21 is Logan. And Logan was on my top 10, I believe, in 2018. Yes, it was. But now it's obviously been kicked out to 21. I still love the movie, but it's not perfect. We haven't quite reached a perfect 10 out of 10 category yet. We're nearing that. I'll tell you when we are there though, actually. Because all these films from 50 to now have all been 9 out of 10, close to 9.5s out of 10. Logan, I might give it 9.5 out of 10 though, because it is so damn good. It is so good. We finally got an R-rated Wolverine movie, and it rose. It is so violent, and I absolutely love it. Alright, now, number 20 is Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. And if you have not watched Part 1, you will not understand what's going on. But, guys, Part 1 and Part 2 are some of the best DC storytelling ever. I mean, the graphic novel itself is probably the greatest graphic novel I've ever read. And you guys should just watch both these two movies and thank me later, because These movies are so good and not many people are talking about them. If you love superheroes, if you love DC, and in particular if you love Batman, you should watch these two movies. Now keep in mind, if you're a kid, just because it's animated, you shouldn't watch this because there are some very bloody moments. There's some adult themes, but overall, I love it. Part 2 just excels at everything. And this is the shortest movie on this entire list. And this is one of those cases where, because it's short, I think it earns its runtime. Because they cram so much into such a short runtime that that's probably the only issue I have is how much they cram into this movie. But overall, I absolutely love it. It is so good. And there's a lot of DC characters in this movie when you think about it, in part 2, I should say. Alright, number 19 is Star Wars The Last Jedi, and this is by far the most controversial movie on this entire list. Yes, a lot of people absolutely despise this movie. I know that, but for me, I love how ballsy, how ambitious, and how risky this movie is. And I love that. Ryan Johnson's like, you know what, I'm going to make my own movie. You have to deal with it, suck it up, and deal with it. And I love that about it. This movie looks great. I love the acting, and this is the best movie with Rey and Kylo Ren, in my opinion. In Rise of Skywalker, they could have done a better job with them, but in my opinion, The Last Jedi and their relationship is amazing here, and I didn't mind the shocking deaths. I really didn't. The only thing I would change was the cantina scene. That goes on for a bit too long, but apart from that, I absolutely love it. Alright, number 18 is The Mirror Stories New and Selected, and I know a lot of people do not know what this movie is. Well, it's on Netflix. I think it's a Netflix original. I don't know, but Ben Stiller, Adam Sandler, that's all I need to say. Go watch it. It's so good. It's one of the most underrated movies I've ever seen. The dialogue is phenomenal. It is some of the most realistic dialogue ever. And that's why it's on this movie. This movie's on this list. Because I'm a sucker for movies that have good real dialogue. And this movie excels at that. Now, number 17 is The Adventures of Tintin. And this is also one of those movies that were in my top 10 in 2018. This is still my favorite Spielberg film. That has not changed, but I can't deny the respect that the love I have for the other movies as well that I've seen. Well, Munich, that movie could have been my top 50. The Fablemans, that movie could have been my top 50. Hell, Saving Private Ryan, The Schindler's List, both those movies could have been my top 50, but they're not. In terms of technical aspects, for sure, maybe, yeah, they're some of the best of all time, but this is favorites once again, guys, and I have to say, Tintin just is so rewatchable, so much fun, so engaging. I love the pacing of this movie, and this is my second favorite animated movie of all time. I love it. Yes, you guys are probably wondering what's number one. Well, we'll get to it soon enough, guys. We'll get to it soon enough. But I love Tintin. I adore it. It's so much fun, such a thrill ride. Thank you, Spielberg, for giving us at least one Tintin movie. Even though we're probably never going to get a sequel, give us a sequel, guys. Also, this is by far the most underrated movie I've seen in my entire life. More people need to watch this, and more people need to talk about Tintin. Alright, number 16 is 12 Angry Men. This movie is so well written, and that's all I need to say about it. It's just so well written. Easily the best screenplay I've ever come across. Anyone who watches this movie can agree with, which anyone, or is it everyone? I don't know, but anyway, 12 Angry Men is just such a well-written movie, and I need to see more from Sidney Lumet because this guy really knows what he's doing when it comes to directing a film. I don't think he wrote the film, I can't remember, but anyway, Henry Fonda does such a great job in this movie, but you think of the dialogue, not really the performances. Yes, the performances are great too, but it's the dialogue that sells this movie. It's so well written. Number 15, The Shawshank Redemption. This is one of those movies that everyone loves, and I can see why I love it too. Now, this is, I think, my brother's favorite movie of all time. So there's that. But anyway, I love this movie. Not nearly as much as he does, but hey, 15 to 1. I mean, it's somewhat close, I guess, but not really. But anyway, I love The Shawshank Redemption. It's so good. It's almost perfect. But I'm not going to lie. Those first couple minutes do kind of drag the movie down for me. But the moment he enters the prison, you are locked in. And I absolutely loved it. And you know what's funny, guys? When the movie ended, I actually thought this was a true story. You know, like, at the end of True Stories, when text appears and they show, like, what happened to the people and the event after. Well, guess what? I thought the text would appear at the end of this movie, but it didn't. That's how good this movie is. I think that's the best compliment this movie could ever get. I thought this movie was real, but it ain't. That shows the power of this movie, and it's really amazing. Shawshank Redemption, You are amazing. I love you. Such a great movie. All right, 14 is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and this is one of my favorite sequels of all time. I remember seeing this on my 14th birthday. It's number 14, and I saw this on my 14th birthday. What do you know? But anyway, it just surprised me. I was so blown away by it. I don't know why. I just love seeing animals go at it at each other. Koba's one of my favorite movie villains of all time. Again, he's just one of my favorite movie characters of all time. And Matt Reeves is just one of the best directors working today. Everyone can agree on that statement. He did such a great job with the Batman, with this with ending of this trilogy. Man, if he directed all three of these movies, it would have been amazing. But he didn't. Anyway, I love this movie. I adore it. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. All right, now we've reached the top of the 9 out of 10 category. And number 13 is Captain America Civil War. This is my favorite film in terms of the 9 out of 10 category. This is the top of that list. Why? Well, it's simple. This movie handles the hero versus hero story in such a great way. I like Batman Superman. I actually do. I know a lot of people will be surprised by that statement too, but seriously, what they did with this movie is crazy. They took all these characters, basically made it Avengers 2.5, and it works. The dialogue is amazing. I love the dialogue in this movie, and again, I'm a sucker for realistic dialogue. And whereas Infinity War Endgame really feel like big, epic superhero movies, this movie is not trying to be epic. It's trying to be grounded, and that's why I love it. I love it more than Winter Soldier as well. Guys, this is my second favorite MCU movie. I'm not going to shy away from it. I love the MCU. It's my second favorite film franchise of all time. And I love Civil War for being just so damn grounded and realistic. Alright, now, we are on the point where we are talking about the perfect movies, the 10 out of 10s. These are my opinion, what I would consider perfect movies. Are they the best movies of all time? No. But I give them a 10 out of 10 because for what they were trying to accomplish, they nailed it. And that's how I rate movies. So there's that. Alright, so let's get started with number 12. The 12 movies are given a 10 out of 10 to. And it starts off with number 12, which is Your Name. This film is a beautiful film. It is my favorite animated film of all time. It is a work of art. The animation is so beautiful. And while I still haven't seen Weathering with You and Suzume Makoto Shinkai's latest films, this film is just amazing. I really need to watch those movies actually. But anyway, I love Your Name. The characters are just so amazing. This film is a body swapping romance. And that's what I love about it. It's so different and strange and weird. And I love it. It embraces how crazy it is. And man, Makoto Shinkai just knocked this one out of the park. You still know how to make a good looking animated movie or anime film, and you absolutely delivered. Your Name is my favorite animated film of all time, and I'm wondering if any other anime film would change that and beat it as my favorite animated film of all time. Because I kind of think I'm a sucker for anime now, I would say. Alright, number 11, Vertigo. And everyone has this movie super high on their list. Like, I believe AFI put this on like number 3, I believe, or maybe even number 1. That's like best movie of all time. And I could see why. Now, it's not the best movie I've ever seen or like my favorite, obviously, but it's definitely up there. But I still consider this a masterpiece because it manages to feel intense, romantic, dramatic, and just thrilling at the same time. Vertigo is such a great film. The concept is very interesting. This by far might have the most unique concept in any Hitchcock film. It is so good. And yes, you can tell I love Alfred Hitchcock. James Stewart killed it. The female love interest, I believe her name is Kim Novak. She killed it. And there's just some amazing shots in this movie too. Vertigo is amazing and I absolutely love it. Now, here we go, guys. The top 10. What you guys have all been waiting for. Number 10. Source Code. Yes, this is by far my favorite race against time film of all time. Where you have a certain time to do something, where a character has a certain time limit to do something, and they have to try and do it. And I love how this movie is paced. This movie deserved to have that 90-minute, a little over hour and a half runtime. It is so well paced. Great cast. You got Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie. He's great. And it's just a great, fun thrill ride. Go watch Source Code. No one really talks about this movie. It's so good. Alright, number 9 is Baby Driver. And Baby Driver is so funny, so fun, and it just got great characters. This also might have my favorite all-star cast, ensemble cast of all time. Even though people might not like some of the actors because of what they've done behind the scenes, who cares? You're still enjoying the movie, right? And I am. It's so much fun. Another one I need to rewatch. I haven't seen this in quite some time too. I love Baby Driver. It's so funny. This might be the funniest movie I've ever seen in my entire life. It is so funny. Alright, number 8 is Blade Runner 2049. And this is the best looking movie I've seen in my entire life. And I love how this movie looks. I love the acting. I love the directing. This movie just looks like a painting at times. It really does. It is a slow burn sci-fi movie. It's not going to be for everyone. I can already tell that and see that. But honestly, Blade Runner 2049 is the greatest sci-fi movie I've ever seen that doesn't really fall to any subgenre. Alright, number 7, Inception. This movie is the most creative movie I've ever seen to come out of Hollywood. I love Inception. The music time is some of the best piece of film music ever. Hans Zimmer really knows what he's doing. DiCaprio killed it. Leonardo DiCaprio did such a good job this movie. The rest of the cast killed it. Nolan killed it. I love this movie. I adore it. Inception is just... No one makes movies like no one. Really, no one does. Alright, number 6 is Psycho, my favorite Alfred Hitchcock film and my favorite horror film of all time up until this point. This movie is just so good at just making you like shocked and surprised at times. And while again, I would say it's definitely not that scary, not really scary at all, it still does a great job of crafting tension and suspense. And I just love rewatching scenes of this movie just to see how well written it is at times and making you think that Norman Bates is a good guy. But is he really? Well, I guess you have to watch a movie to find out though, right? He's also one of my top 10 favorite movie characters of all time just because of how layered of a character Norman Bates really is. And the acting's good, but once again, Hitchcock really stole the show in terms of directing. Alright guys, the top 5, here we go. Number 5 is The Dark Knight Rises, and this movie is by far the most epic superhero movie I've ever seen. Not in terms of characters, not in terms of, a crazy third act. Well, the third act is crazy, but the scope and scale of this movie is so damn huge. This movie has to be seen on the biggest screen possible. If you go to home theater like I have, and no, I'm not trying to brag and boast that I have a home theater, I'm just saying I do. If you go to home theater, it will look amazing on there because this feels like a big screen film and no one went for it. And there are times it does feel like, oh, I wish I saw that. You wish you had seen this in IMAX, and I wish I would see this in IMAX. If I could make a time machine, I would go back in time to 2012 and watch this movie in IMAX. I absolutely would. This movie is epic. The score is epic. The cast, the characters, I love it all. It's so good. This is my favorite DC film, my favorite Nolan film, my favorite Batman film, one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm not going to shy away my love for this movie. I love how truly epic The Dark Knight Rises really is. Alright, number 4 is Prisoners. And in terms of screenplays, my personal favorite screenplay, this is my second favorite one. Number 3 is my favorite, but I just love how well written this movie is because it takes the concept of Taken and just makes it so damn realistic. Jake Gyllenhaal kills it. Paul Dano kills it. Everyone kills it, but Hugh Jackman, wow, what a performance you gave, sir. You are so good. I love you as Wolverine, but this is my favorite film from you, and man, Prisoners rules. It's so good. The Denis Villeneuve is truly one of the greats we have right now as a director. Alright, number 3 is The Breakfast Club, and this is my favorite screenplay of all time. Even though I would say 12 Angry Men technically is the best written film ever made that I've seen, but in terms of my personal favorite screenplays, it has to go to Breakfast Club because the way this movie is structured and written, you can relate to all the characters. Like, when I was watching the movie, I feel like I was every single one of them. I was Bender. I was Allison. I was Claire. I was Brian. I was Andrew. And that's what's special about this movie. And yes, I remember every single one of the names. The Breakfast Club is my favorite classic film of all time. In other words, a movie that came out before I was born, before 2000. I love it. The Breakfast Club is just so iconic, so quotable, so memorable, and I love the characters, and just I love the movie in general. Alright, number 2 is Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2, and number 2 and 1 have actually not changed since 2018, just because of how satisfying, how enjoyable these movies are. This is by far my favorite ending to anything ever, and Snape's backstory in this movie is my favorite movie scene of all time. I'm sorry. Everything about that scene is so perfect. It's shocking. It reveals so much. The music is great. It looks great, even though people probably don't like how dark these Harry Potter movies get. I'm sorry, I just love it. David Yates, you will always be one of my favorite directors because you ended off my childhood franchise and my favorite movie franchise so amazingly. Alright, number one. We have finally reached my favorite movie of all time, and it is still The Avengers. I rewatched this movie last night, and I forgot how fast paced this movie is. I was like, wow, this movie is moving fast. At times, it did drag a bit, but this movie is still my favorite. It is still my favorite because every scene in this movie, every character, every line coming out of these characters' mouth, it actually feels kind of real. And that's something that I also was taken back by. I was like, wow, this movie actually feels slightly realistic at times and slightly grounded. It blends the mix of reality and fantasy so well, and I love it. Loki is still one of the best villains in the MCU, and man, every time I see that shot of the Avengers in that now iconic 360 degree, or the now iconic circle shot, the camera moving around the Avengers in a circle, it is so beautiful. I love it. One of my favorite shots in all of cinema, and the third act is still one of my favorite third acts of all time. I love it. The Avengers is great. Every character in this movie is great. I love it. Even Coulson and Hero are great. They actually gives them some proper room to grow as characters. I love that. The Avengers is so good. Say what you will about Joss Whedon, but this movie is so enjoyable. Out of every movie I've seen in my entire life, nothing comes close to how much I freaking love and enjoy myself watching The Avengers. And I was laughing so hard yesterday, last night, watching this movie. I don't care. I love this movie. I adore it. It brings me so much joy every time I watch this movie. Yes, The Avengers is still my favorite movie of all time. Alright, guys. There you guys have it. That is my list of my top 50 favorite movies of all time. And if you guys couldn't tell, my voice is freaking aching from speaking this long, this fast. I don't even know how long this movie is because I'm using iMovie to record. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, guys. And I want to know, what are your top 50 favorite movies of all time? I'm going to rest my voice after this, man. This was such a long video, and I never expected this to go this long. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. My name's Akil, otherwise known as the Comic Director, and I'm signing out.